Hey everybody, EliteFerrex here, and today we're going to go over a little bit more advanced concept that I use in my 8-bit music, and that is the concept of leitmotifs. So before we get in too deep today, first, I want to address the fact that I have been gone from YouTube for a very long time. As it turns out, life has just been really busy lately. I work at a high school wherein I teach English, and I am also the coach for our school's esports team. And lately, life has just been really busy. I've been trying to find some time to get back to YouTube, and now that we're finally coming up on winter break, my schedule is starting to clear a little bit, and so I wanted to put out a video for you guys since I know it's been a long time and I wanted to get back into the game. With that in mind, let's jump right in. So in the last set of videos I posted, I mentioned that I've been working on the soundtrack for an upcoming game called Heritage: A Dragon's Tale. The game has been in development for some time now and is about halfway to maybe about 60% completed now. And a lot of the songs have started to kind of take their place in the game, and it's been really interesting watching those tracks come to life as those stages have become available for me to playtest as the developer releases them. So I wanted to address the concept of some of the music that is used in this game and how I tie the themes of different tracks together that are related to the same idea or person or concept through the game, and that is through the concept of leitmotifs. So a leitmotif is a recurring theme or sound that repeats itself multiple times in a musical composition that tends to be associated with a certain group or individual. And I've used that concept to create some connection to some of the big figures and forces within the context of this game, Heritage: A Dragon's Tale. So I wanted to introduce some of those things to you today. So to get started with this concept, I wanted to first play a track from the game that I made, and I actually made this very early on in the development of this game's soundtrack. I want to say it was the third or fourth track I made, and as such, I used it to define the sound that was associated with a certain force that is present in the game. So I'll play the song first, and then we'll talk about it from there. I apologize in advance, this track is not quite as neatly organized as some of my other ones. With this one, I really had a strong concept in mind, and so rather than creating lots of different patterns and spreading them out, I kind of just put everything together into a few patterns so that I wouldn't lose that idea as I was creating it. So anyway, here we go. Some of the sounds that you hear in this track and the general melodies became sort of the defining theme that I associated with this particular force that the theme is related to. So the portion of this track that I want to focus on to explain the concept of a leitmotif is this section right here. So you notice that section of the track has a very strongly defined melody that sticks out as you hear it. The So that's what you want to keep in mind as we move into another song wherein most of the track is very different. But you will notice toward the later portion of the track, you'll hear that same familiar melody coming in. So here we are in our next track. And again, as we play through, you'll notice most of the song is different, but when we get to the end, you're going to hear that leitmotif come back. Here we go. Did you hear the leitmotif repeat itself in the end part of the song? If you didn't, I'll play it one more time. So you notice we essentially followed the same melody pattern in both tracks. Even though they are in different keys and have a different tempo, we still keep that same theme. In the first track, it was... And in this track, it is... So even though we've changed things around, we keep that same lead melody throughout, and that entire end section in both tracks follows the same melody concept. This is called a leitmotif. Let's take a look at a second example. So here we are back in the Air Stage 2 theme again, and this time we're going to follow another melody line which shows up in another track in the soundtrack. So listen closely. So here is another song from the soundtrack, and I'll let this song play through in its entirety. And again, as we get to the end, you should notice a familiar melody section to the last song we listened to. Here we go. So hopefully, again, you could understand the parallel between the first track and the second track and how it reuses some of those same melody notes. Again, we'll repeat this section here at the end one more time, and then we're going to compare it to another track which also uses this same melody. All right, so here we are at the next track, which we're going to call Ground Stage 2. And we'll listen through this track, and hopefully at the end, you should hear that same leitmotif repeat itself again. Here we go. So hopefully you caught the leitmotif as we went through. In case you missed it, I will play that section again. Here we go. All right, so the last example of leitmotif for today will be a comparison between the title screen theme of Heritage and the theme that plays on the first stage and on the Overworld map. So once again, here we go. All right, and here we are in the first stage theme of the game. Now, I've already played this one on YouTube before, so I won't play the entire song. I'll only play the section that the leitmotif pertains to. So here we go. So you can see there, this song does change the melody a bit because we're not playing a grand, bombastic opening theme. Instead, we're making a happy, adventure is beginning stage theme. But we keep that melody, which now makes us feel as though, we've been drawn in from this story of this game that was just beginning before, and now that story is being woven in to the beginning of the first stage as we play. And to finish off our round of leitmotifs today, here is the Overworld theme, which again uses the main melody from the title theme and the first stage theme. Again, tying together that feeling that the whole story of the game and its world and our adventure is all connected. Here we go. so I found one more example of the same melody leitmotif that is played in the very first song you hear in the game, during the game's opening sequence. So I'll play this one very quickly as well, since it's a short loop. Here we go. And again, you'll still hear the same melody. So a very short track, but again, we're constantly tying in together those same melodic ideas that help these different tracks feel connected and as though they are part of a whole story, not just individual songs that play that are disconnected from one another. And so I believe it helps create a more unified experience across the soundtrack of the game that helps keep the player engrossed in the game and also makes the soundtrack more memorable as they progress through it. All right, and so that is going to wrap up today's video on leitmotifs. I hope you enjoyed it and hope you were able to learn something about how you might be able to apply this to your own music going forward. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions. You can always reach out to me on Discord at EliteFerrex number 2652, and I'm happy to respond to questions there as well. Hope you enjoyed the video and hope to see you again soon. Have a great day.